All right, welcome back to the Scuttlebutt Club. Our guest today is a husband, a father of 3 boys, a financial advisor, an entrepreneur, a creative, and quite frankly, the main reason that this podcast went from an idea in our heads to reality. He's our friend, Justin Castelli. Welcome to the Scuttlebutt Club.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
We're so excited you're here. You're like the person behind, you're like the Wizard of Oz for us.
Yeah.
I'll take that. I'll
Okay.
take that. I like playing in the background and helping people. All I help you with is stuff I've learned, I have done already. So why have you reinvent the wheel and not help you out? Plus, I know that the things that you have to learn how to do things like the podcast are a lot of reasons people never actually do it.
Don't
Because
start.
it's just, we're busy. We got to figure
Yeah.
these things out. We don't have time to sit and watch YouTube. But if I can give you the little bit of knowledge that I have to get this thing going. And from day one, when you told me your idea, I knew this was going to be a hit. So I'm excited. I'm excited that you guys are doing it. And I have a vision. I told you, I don't ever watch it, but I feel like Call Her Daddy and that trajectory is a possibility for you guys.
That's a big manifestation for us.
Yeah. Put it out there.
Put it out there.
If you believe it, you will see it.
That's what this whole podcast is about to be, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, but you're also like our hype guy, like what you just did, because you gave us like the mics, the logistics, how to do it, which again we probably would have taken forever to start.
Yeah, you also were just like, just do it. Because we are very much like perfectionists and don't want to start anything until it's like exactly how it needs to be. And you're like, no, that's not going to work.
Perfect is the enemy of great.
Ooh.
That's not my quote. I forget. It's a famous author that said I should remember it, but it's true.
No, it is.
Trying to wait until the situation will never be perfect. And it's all areas in life, not podcasts, having kids, making a career change. You can wait and find all these reasons to delay and wait for it to be perfect, but it's never going to be perfect.
And I think it's
Yeah.
also with the climate that we live in with social media, we see more of the people that are that perfect what you want to be, and it's like, well, I can't do that, and it's like, well, they started somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You don't see all
Right.
of the years and the
You
reps
see the
beforehand.
great stuff at the end, and it's like, you gotta just do it.
Yep.
Yeah. I remember you gave us like a date and you're like, you have your first episode recorded by this day. And we were like, oh my gosh. And then
Oh yeah.
I think this was like exactly this time last year.
Was
I
it?
think so. around
Because
there.
It was cold out.
Because Collins broke her leg.
Mm-hmm.
All the kids had like flu and we like didn't hit our deadline that you gave us.
But
We were
it's
just
okay,
like
though.
a week later.
Right.
Yeah.
But
But
yeah, well, whatever. We're here now.
Exactly.
Season 2. You're our first guest on season 2.
I didn't know I had that honor.
Yes.
what an honor.
It is.
An honor. I'm gonna make you a little plaque for your office.
Your office is very cool, by the way.
Thank you. I'm
Yeah.
thinking of remodeling it.
Why?
I feel like you've done that. Have you not?
So I have 2 spaces. I have my podcast space, which that's good. But my office where I work with clients, I've been in that
Downtown
office.
Fishers.
Downtown
Right.
Fishers, yep.
I don't-
In
well,
the
we don't
Jaeger
do-
building right across from 4-Day Ray. I've been in that suite for like 6 years, but I am in the process of rebranding RLS Wealth to a new name, a new brand, and that more aligns with the work that I want to do going forward, which we'll get into. And I feel like the space that I have, which I love, doesn't necessarily represent the environment I want to have for the work that I'll do going forward. So it'll still be cool, but it looks like a dorm room. It's super cluttered but organized, but there's a lot. It's me, like my
Yeah, I
personality.
feel
is
like
through
it's
and
your
through.
vibe
Yeah.
for sure.
Well, as a financial advisor, like for the majority of my career, it was wearing suits, upholding this image that is supposed to be a financial advisor. And when I launched my firm, I was like, no more suits. I want to wear what I want to wear, and I want my office to be comfortable for me and also for clients. But when you walk in, if you don't know me, you can quickly get a sense of who I am. Because on the one side, I have this Gary Vee style wall that's just like shelves with stuff. And a lot of the stuff is gifts from the boys, toys, but like every Kendrick Lamar CD is there. Every J. Cole CD is there. There's a Tupac and Biggie stat. Like all these things that represent who I am. So right away, if we're meeting for the first time, you can look at that wall and be like, all right, this is the guy for me, or I don't want my financial advisor liking all that stuff. I'm going to turn around and leave, which is perfectly fine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
for everybody. That's what
Exactly.
we always
Yeah,
say.
Exactly.
for sure. Okay, we kind of just touched on this, but you started as a financial advisor.
Yep.
and you're still that. But over the years, your passions have landed you to expand in other areas, projects. Can you give us like an overview of that? Because like we know there's a list.
Yeah.
Podcasts. You said the
Yeah.
RLS Wealth. What else? Tell us all the things.
So all of those things really came after 2015. So I've been in the finance space since I graduated college. So over 20 years, which is
Wait, where did you go to college?
Franklin College.
Okay.
So I graduated Franklin actually not even knowing what I was going to do. Ange had a semester to finish at IU. I stayed with her down in Bloomington, would come home. But I graduated college with an econ degree, not knowing what I was going to do. Because I was going to go to law school before I met her. And I stumbled into finance, worked at various firms, but all of them were corporate. So there's not a lot of freedom and flexibility. And I really didn't even view myself as an entrepreneur. I certainly wasn't creative during those days. And when I launched my firm, I had been reading other financial blogs. And this was early in the days of finance guys writing blogs. And like the guy I looked up to was named Josh Brown, and he had a blog. And I just like, when I am on my own one day, because I knew I'd go on my own, I want to do that. So I launched a blog, and never really writing before, but that unlocked a creative side of myself that turned into more content. So my first blog was called All About Your Benjamins.
Oh, I used to read that.
It still exists. It's still out there. I haven't put anything on it since 2023. That was really about personal finance. That was my way to grow my advisory business. Educate people, let them a little bit know about myself, and then let them reach out when they need help. That turned into a podcast because I was listening to a lot of finance podcasts. I was like, well, I want to talk to those people, but I have no reason for them to talk with me because I'm a nobody in Fishers, Indiana. But if I have a podcast, maybe they will. So then I started a podcast. And then the podcast...
What year was that? Do you know?
2018 maybe? No, 2019, I think.
Okay.
January was the first podcast.
Okay.
All About Your Benjamin started in 2016. I had been writing on my blog, on my company website in 2015. So All About Your Benjamins today, the name is not as cool as it once was because it was off of All About the Benjamins, and Diddy kind of ruins that. So, but I like that the hip hop influence on it.
Yeah.
So the writing and the podcasting, then that turned into videos and just unlocked this creative side of myself that I didn't exist.
Yeah.
And it takes me to where I am today, where what I love doing the most is creating my creative work. Having the financial advisor business allows me the time and the ability to create and to be able to create from a space where I have no pressure. Like I don't need my writing or my podcast or my videos to generate anything. I hope that they do. I believe they will in the long run, but I just get to create from my heart, which is really, really cool because not a lot of people get that freedom. So what are all the ventures? In that, an entrepreneur got unlocked, and there's RLS Wealth, which is the financial planning firm. And then I co-founded a community for financial advisors called the AGC. So myself and another advisor that's in San Diego came up with this idea of an environment for like-minded advisors to get together. Because as a financial advisor, a lot of us are on our own, or even if we're in a firm, we don't share similar views as other financial advisors, to get together and collaborate, which is really cool because a lot of advisors see it me versus you. If I win, you lose, you win, I lose.
It's an individual sport.
Yeah, but it's not. Because in finance, there's so many people who need help, and there's not enough advisors to help everybody who needs it.
Yeah.
And then everybody has their different expertise and personality, so it's more of a collaborative profession than people realize. So that's really cool. So the AGC is still going. We have 170 advisors technically across the globe that are part of the community. 2 years ago, we wrote a book called More Than Money that was published on Harriman, which is a really big publisher. Like Morgan Housel wrote The Psychology of Money, which is one of the biggest books of the last few years, and Harriman published his book. So we're on the same publisher as Harriman. And now we're working on volume 2. So the community is there. And then I launched a creative effort called Pursuit, which is originally started as kind of where I wanted to do some individual services and then also some creative work. So I like making hoodies and various clothes. One day it will have a clothing line, but Pursuit is really just a brand that I want to be a creative collective that represents people pursuing their authentic life. So right now there's a podcast. My podcast is on it. Technically, the Scuttlebutt Club is a Pursuit podcast.
We are. You see a little logo in the corner of our...
But in the future, I want it to be a podcast network. I want to be doing documentaries, highlighting people who are living their authentic life and what that looks like, the clothing brand, putting on events, doing retreats, kind of all through that environment. But it's all tied to living and pursuing your authentic life, which is everything else that I'm doing as well. And truthfully, I hope that becomes a family business. I hope that whatever the boys and Ange might want to do in the future, it can happen under the Pursuit umbrella, and we all get to create this really cool company together.
That's awesome.
But today it's really, really small. Like I make things like my series of talks is a Pursuit production. That's just me making the visuals and putting the logo on there. But it's kind of like setting the expectation of this is what the company will be in the future.
But again, like what we said at the beginning, you have to start somewhere.
Exactly. So Pursuit is there. And then there's just kind of like I have, for lack of a better term, like my personal website, my personal brand. And under that is kind of where doing some coaching that doesn't have anything to do with financial planning. Mm-hmm. I want to do retreats there as well. So it's just a collection of different ways of me helping people finding what their authentic life is and then moving towards that and living it. So through Arliss Wealth, part of the rebrand is the way that I will do my financial planning in the future will start with what our profession calls life planning, which is a process of really diving into what it is that you want out of your life. Not what society tells you, not what mom and dad tell you, not what you see on the gram that you're trying to emulate. Like, what do you truly want out of life? And then how do we make that a reality?
So you can get like what they want to do, but then also help their money plan around that.
See, traditional finance and what I've done for 20 years and what I still do for my clients as the foundation, it's really aligning your life. It's really aligning your life with your dollars. Mm-hmm. And what I want to do is align your dollars with your life. And it sounds like the same, but the focus is aligning your life with dollars starts money first. Aligning your dollars with your life is starting your life first. And to me, if you know what you want and what you value and where you want to go in life, it's a lot easier to make the dollars work with that. And a lot of people are living lives that don't excite them, don't fulfill them. There's discontentment in there. There's regret because they're not living the life that's true to them. And finance touches it all. I want to help you figure out what is the truest life. That's what I call the authentic life. What's the life you're supposed to be living, that you were created to live? What is that? And then how do we align your dollars to make that a reality?
So like, would you say that's where your push came from? Like your own self in that situation?
Do you feel like you're living your authentic life now?
One of my words for 2025 is epitome. I want to be the epitome.
We were just talking about words for the year, weren't we?
My other one is patience, but epitome. I want to be the epitome of somebody living their authentic life. And the authentic life evolves over time. So I do believe I am living my authentic life as this version of me, but my authentic life in 5 and in 10 years will evolve and will be different. So because I'm not living that today doesn't mean I'm inauthentic. Like where I sit today, I'm being authentic. And it was evolution. So like through the journey of getting to where I am today, there's a lot of experimentation that I didn't share with you. Different podcasts, different clients I wanted to serve. I spent time at a startup that did crypto for financial advisors, like all of these things. And those were all experiences I had to have to figure out what's true to me. Mm-hmm. And I can look back over life and I can see decisions that I made that deep down I knew weren't the right ones, but I did it because my mind said I should versus listening to my intuition and my heart.
Yeah.
And I most recently last year made a decision following my heart and my intuition and not my mind.
Was that to add us to your?
No, that was easy. That was easy. It was actually to combine my firm with another firm in Cleveland, stay here and work for them. And everything that the mind saw said this makes sense. Like they met me where I wanted to be on money. I actually, if you look at total compensation, I would be better off from a compensation standpoint because I would have had an advisor to help me serve my clients. I would have had an assistant that I don't have either of those now. And all they wanted me to do was create content and serve my clients.
So you didn't take that?
I didn't take it.
Why?
Because what I realized, what's true and authentic to me today is my independence. The ability to come here and record with you that has nothing to do with growing my business, but because it's a conversation I want to have and something I want to do. The independence for me to continue to evolve and try new things, create music videos. Like what employer wants their advisor making a rap and making beats and performing? They don't. And I want to do those things.
I think it's hard for people to see that too. You know, like you said, like have that anytime, any place situation. Yeah. But people see money as the answer to choose overall. And it's like, you can't monetize that, but it's still important.
It's not money. Yeah. Money is important. It touches everything. And there is a certain level of finances that we need to hit just to cover the bills and like be able to sleep.
Do you think you have to make decisions that maybe don't feel authentic to build that wealth first
I think I think possibly
before you can go off and create music videos?
I mean, in an ideal world, you are able to make decisions that feel right for you, that take care of the finances. But sometimes, like a lot of times, the inauthenticity comes through like our careers. We're stuck in a job that we hate, but the money's good, the benefits are good.
Right.
I think for a period of time, making the conscious decision to stay in that job for those financial reasons because it's a means to an end makes sense. But there will come a point where the finances are where they are. It may not be perfect. Mm-hmm. Did we talk about that or was that beforehand? I think we talked about it in this. We talked so much before. It may not be perfect, but it's in a position where you can make a change and go follow something that you are more passionate about and you feel more called to do. And I believe that when you move more towards the authentic life and the authentic version of yourself, money ends up taking care of itself. From a standpoint of you have a better understanding of what you need to live a happy life, and it may not be as much as you once thought. Because when you're true to yourself, you begin to care less about what other people think. You're not trying to impress the world, which leads us to spending more money than we need to buy things we don't care about to impress people who aren't paying attention to us.
Right.
When you get past that, now like you know what you need to live the good life.
Yeah.
And maybe it's less, maybe it's more. And also what I believe is attached to the authentic life is we're all given unique gifts and talents that make us us. That's why you see, like last night in my talk, I highlighted like Chris Brickley, trainer, trades all the best NBA players. Like nobody is as good of a trainer as Chris Brickley. He found his unique gifts and talents, and now he's working with LeBron and KD and everybody. He's in 2K games. He's got his own Puma basketball shoe, all because he's doing what nobody can do better than you. So when you're doing what no one can do, when you're Kobe Bryant of whatever it is that you're doing, then people are going to come to you. Doesn't guarantee you're going to be rich in the money sense,
right?
But you'll have everything that you need financially to live the life that you want. Not everybody desires to be a millionaire. Not everybody needs to be a millionaire. Some people do. The authentic life sorts all those things out. And it's way out there for finance. Like what I talk about and what I believe in, very few financial advisors would ever talk about. But through my personal experience, through working with people and working with people who aren't even aware that these things are happening for them, like they're not seeing it, but I can see it. Mm-hmm. And then talking to other people, like this really does happen. It's almost like there's a path for us to follow, and our responsibility is to find that path. And once you find it, it's not perfect. It's not always smooth. There's ups and downs. There's trials and tribulations. But when you're on that path, it's when like the doors start opening for you and you make that connection that seems like it's a coincidence, but it's not. And you get all these synchronicities in your life that are pushing you to continue to move forward. And that's when you get that random inheritance that from the aunt that you didn't know that left you money. Or I had somebody that, they had a job that they did that they didn't get paid for and they just kind of wrote off, and it was they had a bill they needed to pay that was $10,000, and like 2 years later they get this invoice paid late for $10,000. Like it's just random things like that we chalk to coincidence that I no longer believe in coincidences.
I like that.
Yeah. We had a guest on a couple months ago. You probably have heard of him. His name is Marcus, but he's like the traveling foodie guide on social media. Mm-hmm. And he talked about kind of what you just said. Like he worked in the auto industry for years and made great money, but he just didn't feel like fulfilled. And he started this social media pages. It kind of went
like
from
a creative outlet.
Yeah, from one thing to another. But then he loved it. He was great at it, and he started making money from it. And then finally decided to leave the auto industry and do this full time. And I think he's like so much happier. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And he said like some months are great money, some are lower, but it's more than that to him.
And that would be a prime example of somebody who found their authentic life as of today and is living it. And there's one thing of finding it and knowing what it's supposed to be, and then the other part is actually doing it. That's the scary part. Leaving the safe job, leaving the money. Right. Right. And you can do some planning, like financial planning. Okay, how much do I need this business to make one day? How much do I need to have saved to get started? How much do I need to save to give me a year and a half runway? And you can do some planning to make it happen, but ultimately you gotta make that leap. And when you are really knowing who you are, like intuition gives you a lot of guidance, and when you can trust that intuition, like it rarely fails you. So he would be a great example of somebody living the authentic life and highlighting the point that money isn't everything.
Yeah.
Like after a certain point, more money, more fame, more success doesn't bring you happy.
Well,
there are
I was going to say, at the end of the day, are you happy?
Yeah, there's a lot of
I
very
think he said
miserable
something like
millionaires.
you buy
This
like
is
new
very
house.
true.
Yes, he said something like new houses get old, new cars get old. Like you don't need to keep chasing that.
Right. And one thing you said that he mentioned is that it's hard work.
Yeah.
Like doing what you're meant to do is not hard work, but when you're doing something that you love, the hard work doesn't seem hard.
Right.
Like you're enjoying what you're doing. Rather
you
than it
wanna
being
do
work,
it.
it's play.
Like it's your gift,
Exactly.
like you said.
Exactly.
Yeah. I love this talk we're having, guys.
I'm hoping to like, I feel like when I get going on these things, there's a certain group of people that are like, yes.
Yeah.
Either they know this or they believe this.
Yeah.
And there's another group of people that are like, this is just way too out there.
I'm like, yes, but I'm also the person that's like, I'm scared. Do you know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
So
And-
do you
Like,
help
I'm
people-
here. I'm wanting
do you
it.
help people that are scared?
Yeah, like, tell
can
us
you,
how it works.
Help. Let me help you with your money to help you feel less scared.
No, but like, can
Like
they,
that?
how do they book a session with you? How does that work?
So-
like, how do people contact you to fulfill this?
Yeah, so the approach I'm taking is, I mean, it's pretty intense. So the work that I want to do going forward is a hybrid of the life planning work, the financial advice that I've done for 20 years, and then I hate the term, but like life coaching. So the relationship I have at RLS Wealth is called Aligned Life. And it starts with the life planning process, goes into the financial planning, and then it rolls into kind of like a coaching. So I have a coach who I'm going to go meet with virtually when we get done here. I meet with him every Thursday, 11 o'clock. I love that hour and look forward to. And that's what I want this relationship to spill into is, all right, we've done the work to figure out who you are and what you want. We've aligned your finances. But as you move towards your authentic life and evolve with it, you need somebody just as a sounding board to talk to get ideas, to get advice, and actually act as a guide. And that's the work I want to do. So that's a pretty intense relationship. That's for somebody who I feel like probably has all the money and realizes they're not happy and wants to find that fulfillment, wants to find that purpose. So there's that way. I also have it to where it's like a 6-month sprint. But then on my personal website, there's a version that does the same thing that has nothing to do with financial planning. So it's more about like, okay, I don't care about the finance. I just want to figure out who I am and what I want.
Right.
So similar type of thing. We just strip finance out. And then I added one-on-ones. So there's a guy that I follow named Hakim Tafari that he was on Rich Roll's podcast. Really cool dude. And I was researching him and learning more about him. And on his website, he had where you could book a one-on-one with him. So this is a guy that's like really well known, but accessible via Zoom. So I booked a one-on-one with him. It was awesome. And I had one 2 days ago with him too.
Oh,
So I booked a
wow.
1-hour meditation with him. And we talked for like 50 minutes and meditated for 10 minutes. It was so awesome. So after that, I was like, that'd be a cool thing to put on there. So on my personal website, which we'll leave all that at the end, there's an opportunity to sign up for like a 1-hour overcoming obstacles. So if you have an obstacle standing in front of you, like let's get together over an hour and kind of talk through it. Or like a creative brainstorming session. Like I love creative ideas and coming up with ideas and helping people kind of see something that's possible. So that would be another way just to have like a general conversation. And those are way more affordable than the other services. But then also I think through reading my daily notes, listening to my podcasts, watching my videos, like you can hopefully get some guidance there.
Yeah.
I look at it as I don't have any answers for you guys, you ladies, or anybody out there. Like I don't have the answer. The answers that you are seeking about who you are, what you want, your authentic life, your talents and gifts, all of those are within you. And I can't tell you what it is. And I can't tell you what the path has to be. My job and my responsibility is to help you find it yourself. And that's more of being a guide, asking questions, prompting, pushing, giving you things to think about so you can find it. And then once you find it, I can put my advisor hat on and help with the number type stuff, but I don't have any answers. You have the answers.
This is
So,
Wizard of Oz.
It is.
You
And-
had the answers all along.
Yeah.
They were your shoes.
Exactly. Exactly.
Do you find that a lot of people that are looking to do this are like midlife crisis? I'm not happy with what I'm doing, like that type of age.
So I'm going to be fully transparent. This aligned life relationship is a build it and they will come. I have a couple financial advisors that I'm doing a similar thing with that is helping their business. But no one called me up and said, hey, I want you to help me figure out who I am, align my finances with that, and then coach me. I envision it will be people that age. Because one, there's a financial component to it. Like the relationship's not cheap. It's $2,000 a month for the relationship with a year commitment. So it's not cheap. So you have to have a certain level of finance to
Right.
do it, which is why I do all the content for free
Right.
to help people progress.
Yeah, you're
and
like a
move forward.
great resource.
So I do think that, and I do think it is around that age of 40. And I went through my own little midlife awakening, which is what made me realize this is really powerful and I want to help more people do it. But Carl Jung is a real famous psychologist from back in the day. And he has some quote about how like we don't start living until age 40. But if you think about like why people go through this at this age and why someone would want to work with me at that age, one, finance and career, but you've lived a good amount of life. Mm-hmm. So you know what you like and what you don't like. You've had experiences that you want to avoid and that you want. You have a family, you realize your true priorities. And now you look back at this life that you've been living and you're like, this doesn't meet
Fit
any
anymore?
of that.
Yeah.
So I need to figure it out. And I also feel like when you get to midlife, well, I hope 40 is not midlife for me. When you get to like 40, you begin to realize that people aren't paying as much attention to you and you get more confident in
Yeah.
who you are and
Yeah.
you don't care.
Yeah.
So now it's like, I don't care what society says I'm supposed to do. I want to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
And now thanks to social media, we get to see like the food guide that, oh, there's other possibilities out there. I can go do this thing I've always wanted to. And then it's, how do you get there? For some people, it's doing it on the side until it replaces it. Other people, it's I've got the means. Now I know what it is. I'm going to dive in. There's no right path. There's one right way for you, and it's figuring that out.
So your own life, that is what kind of gave you the push to have this idea and then go run with it?
And I didn't know that that's what was going to happen. But it's just through all of the exploring and kind of having, I call it burnout. It was nothing traumatic. It was just a realization that I was doing too much. And what I was doing wasn't aligned with what I valued the most. I had basically 3 full-time jobs. And I had an AirPod in my ear at dinner, lying to myself that I was still present because I was there and I only had one AirPod in. And my family is the priority right now. Like that's the thing that guides me right now in my authentic life. So I wasn't being true. And then doing that because I was so busy, I wasn't working out like I used to. I wasn't getting good sleep. I wasn't eating healthy. I wasn't taking care of myself, which I've always done. So I dropped the extra stuff I didn't need to do. I started working out again. I started meditating. Like all the things that people hear that people do, they make fun of. Meditating, journaling, like that stuff works.
Right.
That's why people do it. Mm-hmm. So if you think it's not that's not good, it actually really works. So I started meditating. I got into yoga, started to get connected to like the spiritual self that I had. Growing up Catholic, I would have never considered myself spiritual. And now my definition of spirituality is much different. Connecting with nature, like all of the things you see that is like defined as woo, like there's a lot of truth in it, but it's not a truth that you can understand until you begin to experience it yourself. So when I aligned all of those things, I talk about aligning spirit, mind, and body. I aligned those things, and I never in my life would I said I was unhappy, but I became even happier, like a new level of happiness that I didn't know existed. And I was like, I need more people to know this. I want more people to experience what I'm experiencing.
Yeah.
And then when I connected, and I can use my strengths as a financial advisor and align money with it, like, here's my angle, here's my thing.
Yeah, it's very unique to you, and I love that. Because I feel like a lot of times you look at a financial advisor and it's like not 1 ounce of creativity comes to your brain.
Well, I mean, by trait, we're analytical.
Right.
Like, we're numbers.
That's what I mean.
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
I mean, my husband's an engineer, so it's like aligned the same way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like you don't think of like that creativeness brought into it. That's makes you so unique.
Which is why I hope that the work that I do going forward, because the clients I have now I love. Like, they're family. They've been with me for 15 years. They held Roman, Leo, Silas and their babies, knitted them blankets. Like, I love them. I don't want to do anything with them other than keep on working with them. But there's not a lot of creativity in that work anymore. Mm-hmm. I'm hopeful that meeting with somebody, helping them figure out who they are, designing this life, the planning that comes with that will allow me to be creative because they're creative and they're entrepreneurial, whether or not they own a business or not, but they're creative and entrepreneurial. And that what we need to do to make things happen is thinking outside the box. And I really hope the relationship morphs into more of being a financial sounding board that can go crunch some numbers and help. Meaning you have a goal of, I don't know, whatever it is, maybe taking this podcast bigger. And there's non-traditional ways to make that happen financially. My job is to be a sounding board, give you the numbers, and then toss it back to the two of you and say, what's your gut say? What's your intuition say about this? And let that be the guiding force. When I launch my rebrand, like there's going to be not a lot, but there's definitely going to be some woo in the wording of the new version of my financial planning firm. Like trusting our intuition to help us make the right financial decisions. Crunch the numbers, look at it, but then what's your gut say? And then let that be the deciding factor. And most financial advisors aren't going to do that. And honestly, most people probably don't want that either. Like you have to really know yourself and trust your gut to be able to make some decisions when it comes to money and realize everything's going to be okay. And the more you listen to that voice on little things and trust it, the more confidence you build, the muscle gets stronger, and then you can use it to make bigger decisions.
Okay, can you talk to us about the Keep Pursuing series?
Yes, thank you. So
it's a talk you do
each
month.
Yes. So I started it in 2023, and I did 5 talks over like 7 weeks because of holidays. Planned on doing it in 2024 and just didn't have the creative energy for it, and realized that 2024 was a year of growth and learning and perfecting the message. So 2025 rolls around, and I decided I want to do 1 talk every month, which is the series. So they're all around the 4th Thursday of the month. I had one last night. Roman has a game tonight, so I had to do it on Wednesday. But all of the talks are designed to be talks that stand on their own, independent. So last night was Authentic Life, a whole conversation about what is it does it look like, how do you begin to find it. February's is going to be Alignment, which is about aligning your spirit, mind, body, and money. Why you should do that, how you should do that. So they all build upon themselves. You can come to one independently, or if you come to all 12, you get this whole story that covers everything. The reason I want to do it is I love speaking. I don't have anybody knocking down the door saying, hey, come give these talks to our organizations, and I don't want to wait. So I'm just going to do my own. Yeah. And I'm doing it right now in the conference room at my office building, recording them. So they'll be on YouTube. They'll be on the podcast so you can hear them. And the goal is just to continue to share this message that I believe in, that I'm living in, and hopefully get people just to like reflect. Because I think people are at different stages in their lives. Some people don't even know that they're just going through the motions. They don't know that they're living a life that if they were given the choice, they wouldn't pick because they just are going through it. To maybe get them just to question, like, why am I doing what I'm doing? Why am I here? Who made these decisions for me? Did I make them or did somebody else? There are other people who are beginning to have that midlife awakening and just need some more prompting to, lean into that. And here's some things you can do. And there's other people that know they need to make a change, and maybe the content, the talks and the podcast help them seek that help or make that change. In a perfect world, I believe if everybody found and lived their authentic life, like it'd be perfection. There would be no fighting. There would be no dislike because everybody's happy. They're doing what they're supposed to. And we're all in harmony. I think that we all have these gifts and talents that complement each other. So if everybody's doing what makes them unique, we all complement each other, and it's like a perfect society. Obviously, that's not possible. But if we can get more and more people moving towards that, then I think that makes the world a better place to be.
I agree. Yeah. So this is free, correct?
Yeah, the talks are free.
Where can they find the information?
The best place would go to my personal website, justincastelli.io.
Your website is so good.
Thank you.
Like I got on it for the first time, not for the first time. I've been on it on my phone a lot, but for the first time, like on my computer. Yeah. And I'm like, this is so cool.
Thank you.
She was telling me about the arrow turning into the, what was it, a dot?
Yeah, orange dot.
Yeah, the dot. Yeah, orange dot. Or like when you scroll down, it actually scrolls sideways and then down. Yeah. Shout out to Andy Kennedy, who's local, that did that website.
Oh,
nice.
Awesome.
Okay, so they can find it there, but that link is also in like your Instagram. I feel like a lot of people just default Instagram.
Yeah, Instagram is Justin Castelli, so it's JUS10.
Okay.
CASTELLI.
We'll like link it up.
So it'll be in there, and on my Instagram, like that to me is on the byline of it, I say documenting my authentic life. So it's a way for me to document what it is I'm doing, more so for me to remember. But like in the stories, I'm trying to just drop as many nuggets that align with what I believe in that aren't mine. Like imposter syndrome. Who am I to be sharing this message? I don't have a big audience. I have a great life, but I'm in Fishers. Like I'm not a big name, but there are big names. Yeah, there are big names that are sharing this stuff or have shared this stuff for a long time. So if I can put quotes with a name that you might recognize, that might grab your attention more than me saying it. But if that grabs your attention and I shared it, now you might listen, and now I have the opportunity to maybe help you move a little bit forward. So I'm trying to use my stories as like a curation of authentic life related stuff.
You don't have to be a big name to make a big
Yeah.
I know.
impact.
That's one of the things that I wrestle with, though. And that's part of my
I
patience.
know. I do remember someone years ago telling me, like, I know everyone loves celebrities and stuff, but like I find my friends so much more interesting than like Beyonce or something.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's
Relatable.
like you never think of that because we just are this celebrity obsessed big
see,
name like culture, but
Yep.
like it's
And
true.
I don't really care to be famous. Where the head trash I have that I work through is I feel like I really have a very valuable and important message. I need as many people as possible to hear it, so I need a big audience. The reality of it is I really want a quality audience.
Right.
If I can hit 100% of 1,000 people, to me, that's better than hitting a very small percentage of a bigger. So I'd rather have quality. So when I think about, like, I love hip hop. When I think about it, I would rather be an independent underground hip hop artist than be a major label star. Plus, I have no desire of not being able to go out in public and not be bothered.
Yeah.
So like, I would be cool to like every once in a while be out in public and somebody notice me. Like, that's cool. But I don't want to be like not being able to live my life because of that fame. So that's what I wrestle with. Like, how do I impact as many people as possible, but without making my life miserable because of fame? And also, I feel like wanting to be famous, that doesn't line with me authentically, and I just feel like, ugh.
Yeah.
So I want to grow, I want to reach more people, but I can't control that. So I'm just going to control what I put out there, how I continue to evolve and grow, share what I can, and then let the universe take care of the rest.
Love it.
Yeah. Okay. Tell everyone about your daily notes and how they can receive them. I didn't realize this, but Ange told me maybe like a few weeks ago.
Can we quick say Ange is your wife? Because I feel like
Yes.
we've said Ange multiple times
Yes.
and everyone's like, who's Ange?
Yes, yes.
She was on the podcast.
She's a former guest.
I know. I just wanted to
Yes.
make that known.
Well, she told me how many you've done in a row, and it like blew my mind.
Yeah, I published Daily Note 759 today,
Oh, that was more than you told me in the
know.
car.
but I've missed 3 days. So
That is
January
insane.
2nd of 2024.
Do
January,
you pre-make these?
No, so
or
this
is
is
it
what's
every
cool.
morning? That's what I was wondering
every
too.
morning I wake up not knowing what I'm going to write about. And it's almost like, so I view the daily notes as I am translating a message that's coming from somewhere else. Like, this is something I'm supposed to bring to the world and share. A lot of them are actually end up being notes to myself.
You know, say
but
almost
I
like
share.
a journal. Like
It
you
is.
wake up
It's like
and
a public
and-
journal.
Yes.
So every morning I wake up, I do my meditation, I get Silas ready, Ange takes him to school, and when he goes to school before Roman and Leo get up, I write my daily note and publish it.
Okay.
And now I'm recording a podcast version of it as well. So I read the daily note and give you a little bit more context. I look at the podcast as a complement to the daily note, but it could be a replacement as well. The premise of the daily notes are the only restraints I put around it, it has to be somewhat related to the alignment of spirit, mind, body, money, creativity, and the authentic life. And that's all it is. Some days it's a longer one. Some days, like today was just a quote. I found a quote, Brene Brown, authenticity is the daily practice of giving up who we think we're supposed to be and embracing who we are. That was it. Some days I just want to give you a quote for you to think about. Mm-hmm. And some days I want to give you a quote and I want to put some context to it. So I've only missed 3 days of writing. I don't care how many days I do it in a row, but I feel like it's something I'm supposed to do, and it's really, really fun.
So how do you get that?
You can get it if you go to my website, justincastelli.io, there'll be a box that pops up, and that'll sign you up. The box that pops up will actually give you the weekly note, which is one I do on Saturday that has all of the daily notes, because you may not want to email every day.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it'll give you all the daily notes and then some other curated resources. So maybe it's a podcast I like or a book and some other things. And then there's also, it's kit.com is the ConvertKit is what I use to do my writing. You can subscribe to it there, and that'll get to you email every day as well. And you can get it on, I put them all in my stories on Instagram as well. So it's been fun. I had no idea. I started writing them when we were in Marco Island for New Year's. And what started as meditating on the beach and doing some journaling to process it, for some reason, I was like, this is pretty good. Like, why don't I just type it and put it on my website?
Yeah.
And that was how it started.
Awesome. Love it.
Yeah, I love getting those.
Thank you
Right.
for getting them.
I'm going to make you do the next part because this was your brainchild, baby.
Okay, so we started this year or this season with a new segment of like our top 5.
Mm-hmm.
It's always a different topic every week.
Yep.
but we decided that we were going to make you do it this week.
And you gave me a heads up.
The
so I was
pressure.
prepared.
Yes, we
Yes,
gave you a
we're not
heads
just
up.
going to make you,
Thank you.
sit here and
Maybe
struggle.
we should have gave you more
Well, I
of a
think it
heads
depends on
up.
the topic. Like if it was like top 5 Jordans, like hit me on the spot. But
Yeah.
top 5, well, I'll let you say what it is.
Okay, so we decided to give you, because you gave us a book to read once,
Mm-hmm.
The Alchemist, which I'll speak for her too. I feel like we're not like big readers,
Mm-hmm.
which whatever, it is what it is. But you gave us that in one of our meetings, and I went home and read it in like 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
It was so good. So you were tasked with Justin's top 5 books to read in 2025 for self-development.
So number 1 is The Alchemist.
Wait,
Like-
like you have to go to the opposite way.
Oh, 5 to 1.
Oh,
my
no,
bad.
it's already ruined.
Oh, my bad. So, well, there's the surprise.
Spoiler alert.
You didn't tell me that. All right, so if I start at the, and I didn't rank them, so
Oh, okay.
I know, but I do know that would be number 1.
Oh, okay,
So the rest,
that's
so
fine.
if I start from the bottom, I would go with 7 Stages of Money Maturity,
Okay.
which is a book by George Kinder. He is the one who came up with the life planning process that I use with my clients. So it just talks
okay.
about, I wanted one that was money related. It talks about kind of how we view money and why we view it, because money is very emotional, and we develop these money scripts from growing up and what we see and what we hear. And a lot of times our money issues stem from that. So this is, how do you view money? How do you understand it? I think it's really good to get an understanding of what money means to you and like, why do you view it the way you do? So 7 Stages of Money Maturity. Then I would go The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. That starts to get into the woo, but Eckhart Tolle's book is like bestseller for a long time. Oprah loved it. It's really good. It's about being in the present moment. How the present moment is the only moment that exists, and everything outside of that is imaginary, if you will. It's kind of I had to read it twice for it to really take. So Power of Now. Then I would go.
I was going to say, I'm going to be so impressed if you get all these out without checking.
Then I would go The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. So Michael Singer, he has another book called The Surrender Experiment, which would be like 3B. But it's all about connecting with yourself. So this is getting more into figuring out who you are, connecting with your soul. Because regardless of what you believe, like there's something behind this physical body. Like connecting with that. And if you can connect with that, I think that helps you figure out who you are and what you want. So Untethered Soul is really good. The next one would be The Creative Act by Rick Rubin, which is not woo or anything. There's a little bit in it. But Rick Rubin is a music producer. He's worked with everybody. He's been really public a lot the last couple of years because of his book. But it's a book that you can almost pick up and open anywhere. And it's just about creativity and where that plays. I'm a big believer that we all have a creator inside of us that helps kind of guide us, and we should be expressing ourselves. And creativity manifests in different ways. It doesn't have to be a podcast or videos or photography. Like you can be creative in the garden or in the kitchen in different ways. But I think expressing yourself creatively is healthy and enjoyable and can help you out. And then the final one would be The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. And I'll say The Alchemist could be a book that you might pick up that you're not ready for. And you might be like,
Yeah, I remember you
this
telling
book
us
isn't
that.
that good.
And you're like, just put it down.
Yeah,
Come
I
back.
bought it and read like 6 pages, 3 pages, something like that, put it down, and 2 years later, picked it up, and it was, as crazy as it sounds, it was life-changing. Like it was a really important book. I've read it numerous times. I finally listened to it once. I have a tattoo on my arm that has a passage from it, and it has Santiago, the main character, in front of the pyramids, which is part of it. And spoiler alert, the rebrand, no one else will know this. The rebrand of RLS Wealth is the name is going to become Santiago. Based off of that.
Oh, that's so cool.
So I'm excited for that
You
because
heard it here first.
Santiago, this doesn't ruin the book, goes on a quest to find his personal legend, which is an authentic life.
Mm-hmm.
And the work that I want to do is to help the Santiago and you go on your pursuit of your authentic life, your personal legend, and find it. So I'm really excited about that rebrand.
Okay, wait. So we should probably list these somewhere, or you should list these on your website.
What's that? The books?
Yeah.
It'd be a good blog. It'd be a
You
good
know what
post.
I mean?
I'll put it on my.
You need like a like to know it. Link it to like Amazon.
So
I'll
if you
do
go,
a graphic like I did of
Yeah.
ours.
you can do that, but also, if you listen to this later and you can't find the graphic on Instagram, what I'll do is I have at the top of my personal page, there's a tab for periodicals.
Yeah.
So there's daily notes are there, but periodicals are kind of longer form things that I write. I'll put the books in there as a
Yeah,
periodical.
cool.
Top 5 from Scuttlebutt.
Perfect. You don't have to put us.
I'm putting that for sure.
No.
Yes.
I feel like I need to read The Alchemist again. It's been like a year.
Yeah.
I made
it's a-
Kyle read it too.
Yeah,
It's a
it's,
good book to
really
reread.
good.
Hey, buddy, you got to read this.
And I feel like it'll meet you where you are. And
Yeah,
every time you read
yeah.
it, you'll pick up on something new.
Okay. I think that's it. How do you feel about it? you have anything else to say?
No, I just want to say thank you.
Yeah, I
Thank
want.
you.
I'm hoping like we can get a group of people to come in February for your talk because
be
we
awesome.
want to go to one too, and we couldn't go last night.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, and it's like such a good. It's like a great free resource.
I think it is.
You know, like why not take advantage of it?
I think it is. And I think that I hope that it's another one of those things, kind of like The Alchemist, that like you won't know why you want to go because the titles are very vague. So in each talk, I'm writing a poem for it, and then I'm turning the poem into a song, and then I'm recording a music video, if you will, of each song. And so the way I've titled them is I want it to be like a CD. So the long play is once all the songs are done, I'm going to go old school and burn CDs and like Sharpie marker the title on it.
Yes.
And I have a front and back cover for like the CD. So I intentionally titled them 1 to 2 words, not a lot of explanation behind it, in hopes that you just feel compelled. Like you don't know why you want to go hear it. And that's like your intuition. That's the universe pulling. There's something in that talk that's going to click a light bulb for you.
Love it. So good.
Thank you.
I know.
And thanks for the opportunity.
Thank
to
you so
share.
much for coming and
Yes.
sitting
Of
down
course.
with us.
People are gonna love this.
Yes. And hopefully reach out or come to a talk.
Yeah.
You know?
Whatever
Anything.
feels
Or
right.
get the
Yeah,
daily
whatever
notes.
feels
Yes.
right.
Read a
Yes.
book.
Mm-hmm.
Read a book. Is that us? That's our problem. Read more. All right. Well, we'll see everybody next Tuesday.